welcome. It's me, Persita, and this is Persita's Paradox. So today the question is, are you blind? Do you choose to not see things as they are? Now, when I say that, keep in mind that I am not talking about optimism to pessimism. I'm actually speaking on truth in front of you. You might say, well, you always tell us to think positive, and you always say that everything is about progression and so on and so forth. And I believe that. But there is a time in our lives that we are willfully blind. We know what a person is about, but yet we still continue to create a relationship or try to develop some type of relationship, knowing good and well that there is nothing about that person that is going to change. But a lot of us allow that type of scenario into our life because, one, we don't want to be lonely, and two, we somehow have some type of a martyr experience with them to want to be there for them because either they've told you no one else has been there for them and you want to be the person that can show them approved, or we just simply like to be right and we simply like to be in a position of control. But in the end, it becomes willful blindness because you clearly saw where things were going from the very beginning. But things like fear and loneliness hindered you. So I ask you again, are you willfully blind? Are you allowing yourself to run in a circle, knowing that there's absolutely no end to it? There's nothing about the movements, the activity, the mindset that you are engaging in a daily basis that will ever get you to where you want to go, but you choose to only see it in a manner of, well, I'm at least getting up and doing something. Even though you're clear that everything that you're doing is the exact same repetitional thing that you've done day in, day out, that has gotten you absolutely nowhere. Again, are you willfully being blind? Can I submit to you today that most of us are walking in blindness? And it's not blindness that we're not aware of. It is this place of contentment that we sit in because it's easier to stay there than it is to change or to work. Prime example, everyone's talking about now relationships and how hard it is and how you really need to set yourself approved and be your own, king or queen or whatever it is in the world. And all of that is absolutely true. But the truth for me, before I can even say what I can do for myself, is I really have to understand where I am in order to make that judgment call. And we don't talk about that part very often. We simply talk about this obliviousness of, let's just make it happen. But we have to make it happen once we're aware of where we are. We can't just speak of our problems and act as if once we've told something or someone, I'm saying something, but really someone, what our issues is, now you've washed your hands of it because you've identified it. Identifying it is not the issue. The issue is, will you see it through in order to get through it? Can you see it to the degree that you can actually see a solution within it? If you can't do that, to just simply tell me, Persita, I've had some trauma in my life and things have just been terrible and I was molested or my mom and dad left. That's awesome. But the question remains, thank you for telling me, but how exactly do we get through it? That's where we start to look at how can we not be blind? How do we understand that sight is a choice and you must choose sight in life? You can always express what you've been through, but unless you can see your way through, meaning you can see yourself out of the trauma and the hurt, there's no way for you to ever be in a position of being anything but willfully blind because you already know the pain. You already are aware of how it's affected your life thus far. The question is, are you willing to now understand that sight is the next choice you have to move through, and you have to now identify the solution, be that therapy, be that writing a book, be that some type of a testimonial, getting on YouTube and talking to people, whatever it is, you have to find a way to see yourself out of the scenario in order for you to understand that that's the next step, not just verbalizing what it is that you've gone through, but to actually move in it. So I submit to you today, don't be willfully blind. Don't sit and assume anything Understand that when you know what you know, trust you. If you don't trust anyone else, you have to trust you. Trusting your intuition is everything. You know when a situation doesn't feel right. You know when a person has spoken out of turn or has given you misleading information or has just blatantly lied to you. Trust them. Understand that that is who they are. And if that is what they chose to do, typically they're not really moving out of that scenario. People do not change. Your circumstances do, but people really don't. You might say, well, didn't you just speak about change? Yeah, I did. And that is absolutely true in one sense of the word, but the core sustenance of who you are is always going to be who you are. You choose to see yourself another way. Prime example, let's just say you lied and you've been a liar all of your life. You never stop being a liar. You just choose to not lie anymore. Now you might say, well, Priscilla, that makes no sense. What do you mean you never change? An alcoholic is always an alcoholic, right? We know that because there's a group that's out. It's called AA. It's been around for many, many years. If you ever listen to an AA person or a person who's gone through the program, they never denounce being an alcoholic. What they do is put themselves in a position of understanding that they are that, but they don't have to choose to only see themselves that way. So when they go to a meeting, the first thing they talk about is, the first thing they state is that they're an alcoholic. But now they choose not to use alcohol as a way of life. A person who's on drugs, same scenario. You know that you're a drug abuser, let's just say it that way, but you choose to do something different. So when I say people don't change, what my content of what that means is who you are is who you are. What tools you have in your toolbox, you'll always have in your toolbox. What tools you use on a constant are up to you. But the sustenance, the content of the toolbox remains the same. But every day you choose the proper tools for what you need. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Today, choose sight. Choose sight. When you see it, believe it. You don't need 9 explanations for it. You don't need a person to come back and confirm it for you. Validate it within yourself. Understand that that intuition that you denounce for anything that you won't fight your way out of, which is what I will always say, you'll justify something before you'll fight your way out. Not because you don't know what you're doing is wrong or hurtful, but because you choose to be blind. That's the willingness of blindness. You don't have a lot of time to continuously keep making the same mistakes. Make mistakes, but at least allow yourself to make new mistakes instead of the same repetitional things. That is the definition of insanity. Continuing to do the exact same thing the exact same way, looking for a different result. We're not going to do that because that's not what we're about. So today, let's affirm. When I see it, I'm going to believe it. When I see it, I'm going to believe it. I choose to see. Sight is a choice, and my choice is seeing exactly what it is. Not what I want it to be, but what it is. Not what I hope it to be, but what it actually is. Thank you so much for joining me. I greatly appreciate your time. Please subscribe, comment. If you agree, if you disagree, I'd love to hear your feedback. Feel free to do that below. Like and share and do all those other cool things. Again, I appreciate all of your feedback and every person on this channel who subscribed. You are amazing. Thank you so much. Just thank you so much. I'm like at a loss for words with that. Again, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Choose sight. Choose sight. And remember to do 3 things. Live life authentic. Have a blessed day.